Come on in. Hands up, any Radio 4 listeners. That is a lot. It says far fewer in this service than there was in the 9:30. Yeah, is that a surprise? I don't know. Is that the Radio 4 listeners like to get up early? That's what we're saying. Radio 4 listeners get up early. No, so for the vast majority of you, me neither. It's just not. That's not what you get when you're on a trip, I don't know, driving wherever, on the school run, driving with your kids. Oh, I think the Archers is on. Let's put that no. We want High School Musical Na song. Oh, okay. That's what we listen to on repeat till death. Nonetheless, I have heard of Radio 4. I have actually listened to Radio 4 a few times. Nothing against Radio 4. It wasn't by choice. It was traveling around the country doing a job I did several years ago. My boss would have it on and we'd listen to all sorts of things. So I'm aware of some of the programming that Radio 4 has. In particular, I'm very aware of Desert Island Discs. Desert Island, the same thing happens at the 9:30. A wave of people going, yes, you're right, that is a program, absolutely. And we won't get that many nods for the rest of the preach, but yes, Radio 4, we know. Desert Island Discs. Desert Island Discs, I've got a lisp, for those who aren't aware, is a program where famous people come on and they are marooned on an island and they have to explain some songs that they would take with them to listen to on the island. And they pick some luxury to take with them and a book to take with them, but they are automatically given a Bible and the complete works of Shakespeare. I'm not saying that they are equivalent. They're not worth exactly the same, but it definitely sounds like Radio 4 is saying that they are worth exactly the same. And so I'm going to start with a bit less divinely inspired, but no less touching sometimes, bit of Shakespeare. Sorry for anyone who is traumatized by this from secondary school. It is happening. Just go with it for about 2 minutes. It's going to be okay. O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Wherefore means why. Why are you Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet. That's her name. 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. There's more. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called. Retain that dear perfection which he owes without a title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name, which is no part of thee, take all myself. It's a little bit indulgent, I know, sorry, but I do love it. And what is she saying? She is saying, Romeo, you're great, I love you, but oh my goodness, I wish you had a different name. If you had a different name, life would be so much easier. But then she's also thinking, does it really matter? It's just a name. You are still who you are. You still act how you act. You look the way you look. You love me the way you love me. Well, you haven't got to that bit yet, but the name means nothing, probably. That's what she's saying. It's a joke, isn't it? He says that he'll ditch his name, but he can't really. And then they all end up dead. Spoiler alert, sorry. Names and the baggage that they carry, whether that's good or bad, really matter. Otherwise, the play wouldn't last very long, would it? That they can just be cast off and everything that remains be exactly the same is wishful thinking. In this, it's the wishful thinking of a love-struck teenager. Names make a real difference. So I say it, I'm blue in the face, and you're probably bored of it. I'm a teacher. Sorry, I'm a teacher. Oh yeah, he's going to talk about teaching again. I'm a teacher. In September, the very first job that you have to do when you go into a classroom, the very first thing you do when you're training to teach is you have to learn the students' names. That's number one. Before you can teach them anything, they have to feel like you know them. You try reprimanding a student without knowing their name. It's like, and what? Who are you? I don't care. But then the other way around, the power that you, it's not about power, obviously, it's not about power, but oh my goodness, the power that you have when you know a student's name, when you catch them doing something, I don't know, they've like got a pen out and they're like graffitiing on the wall and they don't think that you know who they are and they're like, and it's like, Billy, how do you know? You know me? Ah, poop. It's incredible the difference it makes. You try praising a child, try praising a student, and you don't know their name. It feels kind of empty, but you walk through the courtyard and someone's coming towards you. You don't even teach them. You never had a lesson with them. And you say, morning, Alicia, or whatever their name is. They're like, oh my goodness, I matter. I matter to that teacher. I don't know, that teacher doesn't teach me, but he knows me and I matter. It's really important. And it's impossible, right? It's absolutely impossible. You know, you're in a room now with a couple of hundred people, and you're not going to know everybody's name. You're going to forget them. Some are going to go in, some are going to go out. I'm not saying that, you know, we have to learn everybody's name to make everyone feel valid. I'm just making the point that names are important, and we try our best, don't we? If you need any more proof that names matter, go the other way. There are some really interesting ones that are illegal. This was a fun internet search. There are obviously some that I can't say because I'm preaching in front of in church. I wouldn't say them anyway. But there are some other ones. Adolf. Can't call your child Adolf. Fair enough, I get that. Can't call your child cyanide. Some tried. That was quickly put down. That's not okay. In Germany, a couple tried to call their child Osama bin Laden. And that was not all right. That was, very quickly put away. And in France, it's illegal to call your child Prince William, which is unfortunate for Prince William. He'll have to wait until he's king to go there, and then it'll be okay, probably. Names matter. So we come to the reading. I was going to read at 9:30 my version, but my version, obviously it means the same, but the translation is so different. So we'll stick with what Anne read for us. It says at the beginning of the prayer that Jesus taught us to pray. It says, hallowed be your name. In the way that Jesus is teaching us to enter into that conversation with God, we are told first and foremost to consider and honor God's name. The names, there are loads of names for God. We use God kind of generically, but there are loads of names for God. And we have to consider them, we have to honor them. And that word, hallow, we don't use it very much, other than in church probably, but it means to make holy. We have to make holy God's name. A lot of you probably knew that already, but what some people get confused with is that making something holy isn't about moral virtue. It's not about saying that something is more virtuous than something else. It's more morally correct than something else. It's not about that holier than thou attitude. That's kind of a way that we've twisted it. Originally and still, to hallow, to make holy, is to set something apart, to make it significant in some way. It's special. It is worth being noted as different and other than the everyday run-of-the-mill things. It's unique. It's important. So at the beginning of our prayers to God, right at the start, Jesus teaches us to regard the names of God as set apart, special, incredible beyond all other things, unique and important. Because names matter. Knowing someone's name is a gateway to knowing them. Have you ever known somebody for forever, and you have a good relationship with them? You call them by a particular name, and they refer to themselves by that name around you. And then all of a sudden, you meet somebody that calls them something different. It's a really weird experience. And as I say it, I know it sounds kind of dumb, right? It sounds. I feel like Juliet in Romeo and Juliet going, what difference does that make? They're the same person. Who cares if they're called something different? But I've experienced it, and I tell you, it's a gut punch. So the big one in my life that I think about is my eldest daughter, Isabel, right? That's her name, Isabel. I've known her since she was 3. She's my stepdaughter, and she's 14 now. So that's 11 years. I've called her Isabel. Our family has called her Isabel. She calls herself Isabel. And then all of a sudden, I sort of saw her in the context of a friendship group, and someone was calling her Izzy, and she was referring to herself as Izzy. I was like, who is that? Who is Izzy? I thought I knew you. I thought I knew you. You're Isabel, right? You're my little girl, Isabel, and Izzy. And it's simultaneously, this feeling of shock and surprise that there's something there that I don't know, but also this unveiling of this whole new aspect of her life, because it is true, she hasn't suddenly changed and become somebody different, but I've suddenly seen a whole new area of her that I hadn't seen before. New characteristics, new relationships, a new way of being. It opens her up, makes her bigger. And so we've got, obviously Izzy's a derivative of Isabel. It's the same name, it's just changed slightly. But it's the same, I can't say the sentence right. It matters, right? Given names, formal names, nicknames, whatever they are, they're all valid, and they bring different aspects of our character to the forefront. They reveal different parts of our personality. They're appropriate in different contexts. They mean different things at different times, but they all refer to us. And the same is absolutely true of God. There are so many names in the Bible for God, who he is, and what he is to us, who he is to us. And if we understand them, if we know them, and if we separate them out as unique and special, holy, then it means that we understand and appreciate more of exactly who he is. And that changes absolutely everything. And it changes everything because we are made in the image of God, right? That's what it says in the Bible. God and the relationship between the Trinity, that is mimicked to a lesser degree. We are not God, but the blueprint is passed down. All the things that we crave, that we yearn for, that make us thrive, they are true in the character of God. And if we understand who God is and that relationship, we understand ourselves better, as well as just understanding who God is. So let's have a go at seeing if we can understand a little bit more about who God is through some names. I've been really ill this week. So yes, please. Yeah, he's going. He's ready. I surprised him with this earlier, but he was on the ball. He did it. Thank you, Sam. Oh no, it broke. Yeah, I was really ill. So let's make you guys do some work because I was far too tired to write the whole thing. What names of God do we know? Do we know any names? I'll take the Hebrew, I'll take the Greek, I'll take English, whatever it is. What names of God do we know? I feel, Neil, you were here.
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, absolutely right. God with us, 100%. Jehovah, absolutely. Do you know what Jehovah means? No? Yahweh and Jehovah are actually the same name, aren't they? But there's different ways they're pronounced. Who is that? You, Trish? Oh, you didn't know that? But you said Yahweh. Do you know what Yahweh means? Nope, fair enough. That's okay. We'll come to that one later. I've actually planned to talk about that one, so that's okay.
Jehovah Jireh.
Yes, Jehovah Jireh. Do you know what that means? God provides. Absolutely right. Yeah. Lovely. I'm coming.
Adonai, Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. Adonai was yes, absolutely. It means my Lord. It also became like the really common one after people stopped saying Yahweh and Jehovah so much. They started saying Adonai more, which is that reverent, sort of separate, you are my Lord, my master kind of name. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I'm coming.
I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call him I am. When it says, what is your name? He says, I am. Call me I am. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Absolutely. I am. That's the Yahweh Jehovah thing. Absolutely right. We'll do one. Go on, Fred. Finish us off.
Sikenu.
What does that mean?
The Lord my righteousness.
The Lord my righteousness. It's good. But even just with that small selection, we can see, can't we, how every single name is a different element to what we understand. Provider, you had Jehovah Jireh, so we're talking about a provider. Righteousness, as Fred was saying. And there are so many more. An awful lot that start with Jehovah, and then a bit on the end. But I'll say a few to you. I'm going to say them in English rather than in anything else, just because, time's sake. But look them up as well. So we have things like Father, beginning and end, Anointed One, Living God, God of knowledge, God Most High, Everlasting God, the Creator, God with us. That was Emmanuel. We had that one. The Lord our healer, the Lord our shepherd, the Lord our provider, the Lord our rock, the Lord saves, our dwelling place, the Lord is peace, the Anointed One. Prince of Peace, yeah, Prince of Peace, Jesus, Prince of Peace. So many different names. And if we think about them, if we treat them as being separate, special, significant, it raises our understanding of who God is. And it changes the way that we enter into prayer. Now, there are 3 names when I was considering this that actually, when you look at them all together, really impact me. They really make me change the way I enter into prayer. To the point that I broke a little tear in the 9:30 when I said it out loud, because I've only written this in my head and on a bit of paper before. I won't do it again. It's happened. But it was, really, really interesting stuff. The first one is Elohim. Elohim. How do you pronounce it? Which means the creator. So you see that one particularly in Genesis, right at the beginning. Elohim. And it's all in the context of making and owning, producing everything. And that's huge, isn't it? That's the universe. That's, yes, the planet Earth. It's everything that we see and touch, our experiences, but it's galaxies, star systems. It's enormous. God is the creator, not a creator. He is the creator. His hands are around absolutely everything, more than we can comprehend. And we are so tiny. I'm one of like 200 people stood in a room of 80,000 in a town of, however many million in the country, and he does everything. And then I contrast that with another name that Hagar calls out, also in Genesis. So for those that don't know the story, Abraham, he's one of the patriarchs of the faith. He believes he's going to have a child, but he's thinking that his wife isn't going to be able to manage it for him because she's so old, and so he decides to take matters into his own hands, and he is going to have a child with his wife's servant. But that doesn't go very well, and everyone gets really grumpy. And Hagar, the servant, is then off in the desert, and then God comes to her and helps her, and she refers to him as El Roi, which is the God who sees me. And you see, I'll do it again. God who sees me. Can you contrast that for a moment with this huge creator God who's got everything in his hands, who created every atom of everything, and he sees me, and he sees you, and he sees you, and he sees you, and he sees you. He sees absolutely everybody here. Isn't that ridiculous? And you don't think about it, do you? You take it for granted. God's going to hear my prayers. I'll pray to him and he'll hear me. So you think about his name. He is Elohim. He is the creator. And he is El Roi. He is the God who sees me, the creator who sees me. It is. There's nothing more to say, is there? That's it. We're done. The other one we mentioned several times, said Yahweh, said Jehovah. So the translation's there because when you see it written down in the Hebrew, it's just 4 letters, and the Y changed to a J in different translations, and people thought it was so unbelievably intimate and special, such a special name for God that they wouldn't say it. People didn't say it for ages. There was a period of time when only the Most High Priest would utter it on one day of the year, and then after the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 odd years after after Jesus was born, people just didn't know how to pronounce it anymore. So Yahweh, Jehovah, I am, they're all kind of the same thing. But it is particularly special because that is the name that God gave to Moses at the burning bush and then is used several times afterwards. But it's given as that personal, intimate name. This is, yeah, you know me by all these names, but this is my name. So I was helping at Friday Night Youth this week, and to my absolute horror, we had a bunch of kids turn up from the school that I teach in, and yeah, panicking like I can't do this. This isn't going to work. I want an evening off. Come on. And Sam turns to me. I stood at the desk, and Sam turns to me and he says, maybe it was Sam, might have been someone else. Turns to me and said, "Are you going to tell them your real name?" And what a question! It's absolutely the right question, isn't it? Because I'm not saying teachers are like God, but there is that state of pastoral responsibility and trying to edify these kids and trying to look after them and shape them and protect them. And it's kind of like the blueprint, like I've been saying, that God treats us, God loves us, God looks after us, and teachers have a similar responsibility. But they call me Mr. Gilbert, and then to make that decision in this context, outside of that role, do I tell them that my name is Tom? And I did in the end, because that's the blueprint. God, yes, he is Adonai. He is our Lord, our Master. He is Elohim. He is the Creator. But he tells us he is Yahweh. And that's the intimate name. He is, even with all the other titles and the respect and the reverence, he wants that intimate relationship. Call me my name, If you imagine, I don't know if you're into the monarchy or not. If you're not, just pretend you are for a moment. If you imagine that King Charles walks into the room and he's here for a special visit down to St. Paul's, and he comes to you and you're like, "Oh, Your Majesty," you give him all the right titles and things. And then he gives you a little card. And he says, just call me Charlie. And he puts his personal number. I don't know if you've got a mobile. He must have a mobile phone. He's got his personal mobile phone number on it. He hands it to you. It's like, yeah, Charlie, come on. And that's God. He is bigger, obviously, so much bigger, so much more important, so much more going on. But he, call me the name. Here's how to get hold of me. Call me Yahweh. We can talk to each other. This is the Creator, the Lord, who sees me, who sees you, wanting an intimate and personal relationship with you because he loves you. Even before Jesus was here, God with us, having that relationship with us, that was God's way of working. Yes, there was a separation, but he wanted that with us. It was personal, despite the size and the magnitude. So Jesus tells us to look at these names. And to set them apart, regard them, consider them unique and important. That's what we're doing. And what's the result of that? The result is we see God for who he is. And that changes the nature of the prayer, doesn't it? Without that bit, the prayer is, "I'm sorry, did this wrong. Thank you for these things that are kind of going well. Now, please give me this. Please help me with this." Prayer can be a means to an end, can't it? I want something, I need something, I'm suffering in some way. God, you are my route to it being a better day, to it being a better place. Come and help me. But if we regard the name of God, these names, and we understand what it means, the prayer shifts and it stops being about what we want and it starts being oh my goodness, I'm just so grateful to be having this conversation with you. That's what I want. Well, that's what I want for me. Sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes it is a bit more material, but that's what I want for everybody, really. And that's what we're going to pray for now. Pray that we can understand who God is so that our conversations with him these prayers that we're taught to have become as much about enjoying the conversation, about enjoying being in a relationship with God, as it is about anything else. Father, Lord, thank you so much that you desire an intimate relationship with each and every one of us, despite your size and the amount. Thank you that you see us as individuals, that you love us as individuals, and that you want to talk to us and have us talk to you. I pray that today, as we engage with you in the worship, in our prayers, that we will think about, we'll really understand and consider who you are and who we are talking to and what that relationship is like and how amazing and wonderful that is. And I know, and we all know, that that relationship and that engagement is good for our souls. It's good, it's satisfying, it's a powerful healer of so many things. I pray that you will enter that you will enter into that with us today, and we will feel you. We just want to know you better, Lord. Amen.